What's up, everyone? This is Isaac Smolden, the production manager here at My House. Super excited to welcome everyone to Season 3 of My Voice, now hosted by case manager Bryan Fields. A quick reminder that today's episode of My Voice is going to be part 1 of a 2-part series with our guest. So please make sure you are tuning back in 2 weeks from when this episode releases to catch the second half of our first guest of Season 3's story. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the show. My Voice provides those with lived experience in homelessness, addiction, mental and behavioral health struggles, and domestic violence, with a platform to tell their story in their words. Every episode is conducted anonymously in order to facilitate a candid and comfortable place for guests to tell their story. My Voice is hosted by Bryan Fields, who works as a case manager here at the My House Youth Drop-In Center in Wasilla, Alaska. We now join a My Voice conversation, already in progress.
Bro, the cool thing though is like you're my first guest, so if it comes out awful, it's my fault. You know what I mean?
Good.
So
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that because this is my first time being a guest.
what?
So, like, that's okay.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. Awesome. Are we ready? I wrote down a question, but I lost it. Okay, I found it. We're good? We're going? Okay. So, I have a question for you.
Please ask.
If you had to choose one famous person from history that you would want to be on your team during the zombie apocalypse, who would it be and why?
So this is a real historical
Dude,
figure.
this is, yeah. And it's like, I mean, this is serious. This says a lot about you based on your answer, so please take your time.
I mean, I guess if I'm trying to survive,
Yeah.
right, like tactically,
Yeah.
it'd probably be like Genghis Khan.
I mean, okay.
Like, I'm just saying he was pretty innovative with his battle tactics. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Dude, when I thought about, like, when I read the question, the first person I thought of was Terry Crews, bro.
That's not, you didn't.
Bro, he's Cheeseburger Eddie, bro. He can smuggle you cheeseburgers. He's strong. He's funny.
That's
really
not
keep the morale high.
Is that a historical figure, though?
I don't.
Because if we can do that, I'm going to go with Denzel Washington with, like, training day skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. Is that your final answer, Denzel
No.
Washington?
Okay, if I'm going final answer, it's going to be Denzel Washington with the skills of, like, the Book of Eli.
Okay.
You seen that?
Yeah, I've
But,
seen
like, the
that.
attitude of training day.
Okay.
Right?
That's solid.
Yeah.
That's solid. I feel like you would survive for a while.
I would.
What's up, man? So, thank you for coming, dude. You're my first guest. I am the brand new host of this show. Very excited to have you and to hear your story today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm not nervous at all.
No, not at all.
Nope.
I can't see you sweating.
I'm
That's
not.
weird. Where are you from, my friend?
So, born in Arizona, pretty good childhood,
Yeah.
I would say,
Okay.
for the most part, depending on what you consider childhood.
How long were you in Arizona for?
Till I was 14.
So you were 14. Okay. When you grew, like growing up, was it just like, was mom and dad together? Was there like separation there, or like?
No, so they were never married. And my dad, there was a bit of an age difference, like an 11-year age difference with my mom and dad. So my dad was younger, but they split when I was about 4 or 5.
Okay.
And I was just a mama's boy, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Did they like share custody, or did like dad split, or?
Yeah, so I had to go to my dad's every other weekend.
Okay.
Which was cool for a while, kind of. Like, my dad was...
Yeah, I mean, you said I had to go to my dad. I'm like, oh, dang.
Like, my dad was, like, not... And I used to be very resentful towards him. But, like, you know, becoming a father, I started to understand the struggles with that.
Yeah.
And especially custody stuff. But he was always, like, the axe, right?
Okay.
Like, it was like, my mom's like, don't make me call your dad. Like, if I'm getting in trouble. And I'm like, okay, sorry, I won't. But
Yeah.
So he just showed up when I was in trouble or when I had to go there over the weekend.
Okay.
So...
Okay. And so you and mom, so majority of time was spent with mom.
Yeah.
And you guys had a good relationship?
Oh, yeah. Me and my mom are very close.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was school like in Arizona?
The schools, or how was I in school?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Okay. I was very concerned with being accepted. Like, my grades have always come second. You know, I never was like failing, like, you know, or anything in like elementary school and stuff. Like, I could always do, I test really well, but in class, like, I needed attention, right? So I had to be funny.
Yeah.
I tried to hang out with the older kids.
Yeah.
Which backfired because then I became the runt of my friend group, right? Yeah. And so always constantly trying to prove myself, always in the principal's office. It was actually trouble at school that led me to come up to Alaska.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think the need for attention had to do with the relationship with your father at all?
Whoa, dude. I mean, probably. I think it probably had to do with a lot of things. I mean, definitely that.
Yeah.
My dad was a very, I mean, it's just, I needed good attention or bad attention, right? My dad he's very, at the time, he was disappointed in me. He's very, like, one of those guys, like, your generation. So there's problems with my generation, right? Right? Like, you know, like, we got no.
These dang kids.
Yeah. And, you know, like, I wasn't allowed to cry at certain times.
Right.
Right, I had to like bury it. He would say like put my head like in a pillow or something. Yeah. But I now I see like none of that was malicious. He wasn't like trying to be a or oh sorry bleep bleep. He was just trying to do the best he could. Like,
yeah, for sure.
First kid, he's a young guy. So yeah, probably a lot of that probably came from daddy
so like
issues.
yeah, I mean like the reason I ask is because like if you look at the numbers, they're actually super staggering when you look at adolescents that have problems that come from families that are divided. And I think it's like something that's not talked about enough. They told me like have safe sex, all of those type of things, but nobody told me like, you know, when you're ready to build a family, like it's really about building that with somebody that you trust and you care about and all of these things, and not like these selfish motives that unfortunately when I had a kid that I had,
right?
You know what I mean? Which led to the separation of me and my ex. Anyways, okay, so you were having trouble in school in Arizona. And then did mom or did dad say you're going to Alaska?
So it was freshman year when I got in big trouble.
What did you do? What do you mean big trouble? Let's hear about this. What's the scoop?
Me and my buddies got caught doing cocaine at school during state testing.
Okay.
I mean, and have you ever done state testing at school? Like, you know, you gotta put the manila folders up so like no one copies you, right? And like we were doing coke like on our dad. Like it was just bad.
Dang.
Yeah, and
freshman year of high school.
Freshman year of high school, yeah.
Okay. When did you start using drugs?
Oh, my first experience with drugs was when I was 11. I smoked weed with my cousin Dane, and that's another thing. Like he was a role model for me, but not really. Right? Like
I mean, yeah, if he's giving you weed, then.
I idolized because he was like the one. My mom was a teacher, right? And so she was like, I was so like smothered in love. Yeah. All the time. Yeah. Right. And like in my head, I felt, you know, like kind of a for it. Like kind of sometimes. Yeah. Oh, sorry. my bad. And so like I go to my aunt's house and Dane's got like spiked hair, right? Mm-hmm. He's like 16. He's got like a skull tattooed on his shoulder.
Yeah, like he's so cool, dude. He sounds cool.
Right? Yeah,
I'd hang out with him for sure.
He was so cool. I was like, you are so cool, man. And yeah, one night he was smoking weed in the garage and he just gave it to me and I hit it. Yeah. And like, I don't even know if I inhaled it, right? Yeah. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Right? Yeah. Like pretended I had the munchie. Like, I don't know what any of this is. And so that was my first experience with that. Okay. And that actually, this is probably pretty important. I went and told my friends about it. Yeah. And my friends are like 13, 14. Okay. And I'm like, yo, guys, I smoked weed this weekend, right? Like thinking I was going to be
breaking news, right?
Finally accepted, like leveling up. And they were like, bro, we've been smoking weed. Like, we've been drinking. I'm like, you guys didn't
party late.
Yeah. They didn't tell me because my mom's a teacher, right? And like and this and that. And so then I had to play catch up. No. Or so I thought. Yeah. So yeah, got in trouble at school freshman year. My dad had been in Alaska for some time. And she's like, you're going to go live with your dad for 6 months to get straightened out. get your grades back up. I was skipping school. I had like all Fs and like 2 Ds at the time I was a freshman. That's bad.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, then I came to Alaska.
And you came to Alaska? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're talking 11, started smoking weed, we tried it, and then we said we had to play catch up. So, like, was it for a while just smoking weed, or did it, like, progress, like, quickly with, like, narcotics and stuff like that? Or
So it was pretty, I mean, I was 11, right? So, like, at first it would be, like, we'll go to the store and, like, steal some liquor, right? Because in Arizona, it's just out. You can just go in there and put it in your pants or whatever. And we do that every now and then. You know, I'm 12, I'm 13, and then 13, Oxy 80s were a big thing. Yeah. My buddy's mom, she had those, and we'd get into that. Right. Right. And then, you know, you start doing that, and then a little bit of older people come into the mix, right? Like, so like 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, sometimes like 19-year-olds. And then spice was a thing. So then we're going to, and bath salts, like all that stuff. Like by the time, like at 13 and 14, right? So yeah, just kind of, I didn't see the gravity of like what I was doing. Yeah. But
is there like substance abuse like in your family, or is it?
So yes, like not in my household. Right. Right. My mom like would, you know, she'd have a glass of wine on the porch, but everywhere else, yeah.
Yeah. So was it ever like, did you ever have those thoughts of you'd see what they were doing and you're like, I'm not going to do that type of deal?
Like with my family?
Yeah.
I never saw any of that.
Oh, you never
my mom, I had no idea. I could tell like other people were more rowdy than like my mom or like me, but I was like at home, like the only time she didn't tell me like, your aunt's doing meth. You know, like
I guess it's not a conversation you have over dinner. Like, hey, Aunt Karen down the street, just, you know.
Yeah, she's twacked out
up for a week.
Yeah, like I didn't know any of that.
Okay. Okay. So you were like sheltered from that. So you didn't have anything to reference as far as what these choices will lead to or anything like that.
No.
Okay. Okay. So you get to Alaska, you're 14, and you move in with your dad. And at this point, I'm assuming you have pretty high resentments for him.
Now?
Yeah. At 14 when you moved?
At 14, I was afraid of him.
Still afraid? Okay.
I was really afraid of him. Like he was all about respect.
Yeah.
Right? Like he didn't really care if I understood why I was obeying him, just that I was doing it. So it was mostly just fear. And like with that came some resentments. But like he was like, I mean, he tried to spank me when I was like 15 years old.
Oh, dang.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he would like, you know, if I did something at the table, like elbows on the table, whoosh, like a little love tap in the back of the head, you know? Okay. Have to say yes sir, no sir. Yeah. But he was effective, man. Like my grades, like the second semester. So first semester, Arizona, all Fs, 2 Ds. Second semester at Wasilla High, all A's, 2 Bs.
Oh, wow.
Like I was home. Like he's like, we're doing homework right now. Like, dang. I mean, and so it was effective, and he still like did things, right? He took me he got me a 4-wheeler. Yeah. Right. And like tried to show me the Alaskan thing and like, yeah.
Okay. And so you started to turn your grades around, and it sounds like, so you were up here till you were 15. So it sounds like 6 months turned to longer.
Yes.
So what happened there?
So I moved in with him and his girlfriend at the time, who I really liked, and she had 3 kids. Oh, damn. And I was an only child. And so I was like, I really liked the idea of having brothers and sisters, right? And I was home all the time. I was trying to stay out of trouble, so like we just play video games, like make forts or have like Nerf wars, and like I just totally fell in love with having the idea of you know, having brothers and sisters. But then after about 6 months, him and her broke up, and it was her apartment, and like he went to go stay with an uncle, and I'm putting air quotes up, right? And I didn't want to go. Like, I don't know that person. I don't want to go there. Yeah. And my mom's like, okay, well, it's time to come home. I was like, well, I'm going to spend a little bit more time with, you know, my brothers and sisters. So we did that.
So you stayed with dad's ex?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, who I had been calling stepmom at that point.
Right.
But then the man was out of the house, right? The big, scary guy who made me do all these things was gone. Yeah. And I know how to get away with things with my mom. Like in Arizona, right? Like I know how to lie. Like I can't manipulate my dad. Like he'd just see right through it. You know, I'd start like, hey, can I get your credit card to like walk down to McDonald's and get some food? She'd be like, yeah, sure.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I'm like going out and I'm like stealing some spray paint, right? And like I'm going to like tag, like whatever.
Tagging the bridge tonight,
tagging the bridge, boy.
Show up or be square.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Getting like a lighter and an axe can. You know, just like stupid, right? Yeah. And then I met people like these other kids that were like walking around town, like doing the same thing, that were my age, like 15, right? Like 14, 16. And start smoking weed.
Okay.
Again. And
had you been off of like everything this whole time?
Yeah.
Up into this point?
Yeah. I had every now and then, like I would drink, but that was like okay. Like I would like have a beer or something at like some barbecue, but I wasn't like abusing
substances or nothing.
Yeah. And then, so this guy came into the picture, right? She got a new boyfriend. Super great guy now, by the way, in recovery.
Okay.
At the time, bad priorities.
Okay.
So, opposite of my dad.
Yeah.
Right. I just come home one
and
day.
Where is like dad like at all like
he just was
concerned about like you still living there? What's mom saying about all this?
My mom like wanted me to keep coming home. She wanted to give me time, right? Because I was like adjusted now, and I was starting to create my new identity. And I don't want to go back because I'm also getting away with things here, right? Like I'm able to leave and go smoke weed and right, and like have girls over, like whatever.
Right.
I have a girlfriend at the time also, right? Like I don't want to leave her. I forgot about that. So this guy shows up, and he's the total opposite. Like he's got rock revivals on, right? His hair's all gelled up, like he's like some Affliction shirt. Like I don't know, right? Like he just looks super cool. Yeah. And me and my little brother like hated it, right? We're like, who's this guy like coming to like kill the vibe out here? Like this is our house, dude. And so like I had stuck gum on his car or something, right? Or I asked him for a piece of gum, and he gave me the whole pack. Yeah. And I just thought that was so douchey. For some reason, like, I was like, you're such a douche, bro. And so like I took it and like we chewed up like half the pack, and we left to go whatever, probably steal cigarettes from the store or something. And like I stuck all the gum to his car, and we're like, I don't like mint, or just some dumb. But we started to use with him.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
Like weed.
Yeah.
And then he started getting a little more on it. He was concerned about being our friends because we'd given him such a hard time. Rather than being like an authority figure, and that snowballed. He got a little more honest with us about the things he was doing, and it turns out he was selling drugs, and that's how he made his money.
Gotcha.
And this is great because my dad is like this is all new to me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I like to get high, but like talking to an actual and living with someone who's selling drugs,
right?
That was a shock.
So yeah, you're in a whole different lifestyle now at this point.
Yes. It's just like how I was with my cousin, right? Like I still, there's that part of me that like really idolized the freedom of that, the aura being bad, right? So we started doing Molly was a thing.
Yeah.
And it got like, I would get Molly for like half a gram of Molly for like doing the dishes, right? Or like,
oh, wow.
Or like cleaning my room.
Yeah. Steep price. Really driving a bargain there.
But he like decked me out, like he got me designer jeans, right? And he got me like new shoes, and like my dad had made me feel very weak, right? Not maliciously so, right? But he made me feel like, like a runt, like I needed to do better, like I wasn't smart enough, right? Like I wasn't like strong enough, fast enough, like I was just I don't know why.
Yeah, there's like no empowerment there or like lifting you up or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
my dad was like, we got to rebuild you and like make you a man. It was
Right.
all about being a man,
Yeah.
being a man. And this guy was like, you're pretty cool, bro. Like, let me deck you out, right?
So he was like accepting of you, of like who you are. And
yes.
yeah.
And so it got bad, man.
Yeah. And so where did like school again, like start falling by the wayside?
Yes.
Okay.
Grades started slipping, but like, and they would pretend to like care about my grades, right? They'd be like, well, you need to do your homework before you get this, like, Molly, right?
Oh my God.
And my stepmom at the time was like, she did not like it.
Yeah.
Right. But
was she using too?
She was like, she smoked weed and stuff, but she still worked. I don't think she really understood the gravity of what was going on, or she refused to look at it.
Yeah, that definitely happens a lot.
Right. Because it's like, I'm a child.
Yeah.
And I'm doing hard drugs in your house, right?
Yeah.
And you were entrusted to like take care of me, so there's a lot of guilt there. But we're all addicts, like in one way or another. Yeah, so school fell by the wayside. I would go to school high, right? I wasn't like a popular kid because I couldn't really relate to like the preppy football players, but I didn't want to be like, I don't know what else there was, like gothic. I don't know, like nerdy, I guess,
Yeah.
And so I just had my little group of friends, and we just did drugs and walked around town and smoked cigarettes and, went to house parties. But
was it just Molly at that point, and like Molly and weed, or did it?
Molly and weed, and I didn't really drink.
Okay.
But the come down started getting really bad. And I would talk to him about, I'd just be dead. Right? Like, I can't go to school. Like, I'm just like, my head is like, because the come down from that stuff is rough.
Yeah. Even if you're not like actively using it.
Yeah.
I remember like when I was using, I'd do some Molly and the next day, like I felt like absolute death. And I couldn't imagine that. Cause I mean, I was like in my 20s when I had started with ecstasy and stuff. And so I couldn't imagine being in my early teens and being like, what? Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah, like, you want me to go to school right now?
Yeah, like are you crazy?
You're tripping, dude. You need to give me some more Molly. I'm not doing nothing. Yeah.
That'll fix it, right? That speaks so much volumes to like the addict brain of, oh yeah, we'll just pile more on top of it.
Exactly.
And that'll make it all better.
Yeah. And so like this whole time I'm giving my mom, I'm like giving her excuses, and like everyone's keeping her in the dark, right? Because my mom is like, she's crazy in a good way, right? Like she'll fly down there and have us all arrested.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah,
like,
that's my baby.
Yeah, we gotta keep her in the dark on this, which I feel terrible for now. So yeah, the come down's bad, and I'm talking to him about that. My stepdad, and he's like, "Well, you know, you could try this, right?" And it was meth.
Oh no,
right? And so I.
How old were you at this point?
Probably like 16.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe 17. My sense of time is a little messed up from all the Molly and meth.
Yeah, I can imagine that would do that.
Yeah, and we started doing that, and it was way better, right? Like it was like the longevity of it,
right?
And the, you know, and so that started happening, and then with that comes drama, right? Like within the household.
Where's Dad? Is Dad like completely removed from the picture at this point? Like he's not even like checking on you anymore? Or?
Yeah, so he worked on the slope. He was at my uncle's, and like I didn't want anything to do with him at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Did he try to make anything? Like,
there was a couple times where he would like, I'd be walking in town. Like I remember one time I was at Cars, and he just comes like drifting, and he's like, like get in the car, son. And I'm like, I'm not going with you.
Yeah.
I'm Wayward. You know? Like, I'm a black sheep, dude. Leave me alone.
I'm a peacock. Yeah. You gotta let me fly.
Right. So there was a couple times he tried to do that, but I wasn't having it. Yeah. So then like lots of drama came in the house. I remember I got my first car with a dividend, and then they kind of like took it from me.
Did you have your license when you got the car?
No. Maybe not. I might have.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't have that. But I bought it, right? And they were gonna help me practice drive it, and they started driving it, and I'm all high. I'm like, they're stealing from me, dude. Like, you know, like just going crazy.
Yeah.
And we get in fights, and then they'd kick me out, right? Or I'd leave. And there came a time where I was not allowed to come back. So I think I was 17. I know I was going to Rochelle High School.
Okay.
And I went to a campsite. Like we were just walking around at this point, right? I'm sleeping in like boiler rooms sometimes, and like I'm hanging out with the townies, what we call them, right? Like other wayward runaway kids my age.
Yeah.
Or the 40-year-old guy that's holding the sign, right?
Yeah.
You know, I was living in a tent, but I was still trying to go to school. And like I'd go home every now and then and get in another fight. Like it was crazy.
Just chaos.
It was chaos. And that was like my first experience with my house.
Okay.
Became a client there. I don't remember like how I was referred to that or found out about it. I didn't want to change my life,
right?
Because I loved getting high. But I would shower. I would come here and like shower before school because I had a shag then, right? So like, I couldn't go to school with greasy hair.
We're gonna have to look up some pictures. I gotta see this.
Yeah, the chicks loved it.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
And my house is actually the people that they took me to get my driver's test. Because I had that scheduled a while ago when I got my permit, like with my dad. Mm-hmm. And the date was coming up, and I had no one to take me. I had no car. And I just walked in here, and I was like, I got a test today. And like, really want to take it. And they're like, okay. And so they took me in the van.
Yeah.
I showed up to the DMV in a van that said the homeless teens of Alaska. And like just drove this dude around.
Yeah. That's so awesome though, man. Because that like speaks volumes to like what my house does. You know what I mean? Like you don't necessarily have to be ready to like change your life. If you're ready to work on any type of goal, right? Like we're here to help you work on that goal. And it's not, okay, take this number and go wait in the waiting room. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like how cool is that you got to come in and be like, yo, I got a test today.
Yeah.
Can you guys help me with that? And boom, there you are. And
I wasn't doing like anything other than I was just utilizing like the available like surface level resources like food, a shower. Mm-hmm. I wasn't like trying to change my life or like accepting any direction or suggestion from them.
Right.
And there was still absolutely no questions asked. Like, yeah, sure, let's make it happen.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That was pretty cool.
So you first started to get, you're homeless now, trying to go to school.
Oh, yeah.
Engaging with My House, getting a little bit of like, it sounds like you're kind of trying to just like function and survive a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you finish school?
Oh, like graduate high school?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I got my GED when I was probably like 22.
Okay.
At Matsu pretrial.
So how long did it take for you to drop out after you became homeless? And how long were you like?
Well, so like I ended up moving in with a friend, I think, when I was maybe late 17.
Mm-hmm.
Still very low supervision in that household.
Okay.
They were a Russian family. And so like I just stayed in his room, right? And then tried to go to school. And but I stole something. I think I like robbed like the Grape Tap or something, like a restaurant.
Okay.
Like, I stole like 4 kegs.
Wow.
And like,
how did you even carry that?
So, well, that's the thing.
Hercules over here.
No, of course not, dude. No, it's like, you know, that old town, like Old Wasilla, where those little old vintage buildings are.
Yeah.
So I just rolled the kegs over there. This was in the middle of the night, and like
Okay.
stashed them under that building, and
Yeah.
then was gonna have this like 20-year-old guy go pick him up, and the cops were waiting for him when he went there. And obviously he's like, well, yeah, this kid just told me to come pick him up.
Oh.
So the cops were looking for me at school. They eventually came to my friend's house and arrested me
Okay.
when I was 17. So that was my first experience with that.
Did you go to DJJ?
I went to Matsu Youth Facility.
Yeah.
So for like 10 days.
Okay.
Just
Did you
like
get put on probation or anything? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when like I got my mom back involved in my life.
Oh,
Right? I'm like, I
okay.
need help. And so I was in there for 10 days, and then I had to go out and go to PHH.
Okay.
So Presbyterian Hospitality
Yeah.
House, and kind of like a group home type setting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there for like 6 months, I think. And then the condition for that was like I had to go when I turned 18. I could get off all the consequences if I went back home to Arizona.
To Arizona. Oh, okay. Wow.
Which I did for a little bit.
Okay.
And then I started drinking. And then I called my stepmom up here and was like, I can't do this, you know, like I want to come back up there. And then she bought me a ticket and I left my mom again, she was heartbroken.
Yeah. And what was it like when you like went back? Was mom like harder on you then, or was it still like, did she still have like the same parenting style?
I mean, it was different, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember too much, but I mean, I had completely changed. Like before,
Right.
right? So it was like I was able to like run my own life basically.
Gotcha.
And like, I was a little more defiant and cocky. And
Yeah.
so.
Okay. And so then you called stepmom and you came back to Alaska,
Yes.
and you were still 18 at this time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, 18, close to 19. And then I just kept doing what I was doing. And then I met someone that I had met this girl and went to her house for something. And her dad was like the plug, right? Like the real deal. Like I started meeting all these like adults now, like people in their 30s that are like, this is their life. Their life is drugs.
Right.
These aren't the people that are walking around on the street.
Mm-hmm.
These are the ones that like are going from house to house and like all these like trap houses. And I got introduced to that. And I started staying in his garage, and I started to like sell meth.
Right. At 19.
I was about 19 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
And again, thought I was super cool. He let me drive around his Escalade, right? And I would go in town, like where I knew all those people I used to walk around town with were. And I had this Escalade, right? And I'm like, look at me, dude. We made it.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
This is life.
Yeah.
Dude, I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day. They were like trying to like talk with this 18-year-old, and they were telling him about how like they worked at this job they didn't like, but they had this truck that they had fixed up and all these things. And he was trying to tell him like, oh, but you can do this and you can do that, like to better his life. He was like, eventually I just told him, he's like, man, like I understand for you at this age, this truck and this job is your entire world. Like this is life.
Right.
And I remember being in that at that age, man, where it was like, it didn't like, you can't see what my future is because it's right here, right now. And like these possessions that I have is my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I totally relate to that as far as like, Yeah,
Yeah, dude,
I'm here, dude. I've arrived.
You place value in that, you
Yeah.
know, like especially when you were like, you know, you're on this like walking around town, like stealing, just right, like scraping a meth pipe with like a homeless dude that was just holding the sign, and like your other friend who like left school, right, like, and so
life wasn't looking too hot there for a minute, so Escalade is like next level.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't mine, but like, you know, and he just showed me everything. Like, this is how we do this.
Yeah.
And like, this is how you do this. This is a scale, right? Like, this is how you want to bag this. Like, it's just everything. And like, I got so, like, he put this real business entrepreneur like style aspect to it that made me again feel smart and like,
was he somebody that you like idolized again as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, now looking back on it, I'm like, this dude is like, like a loser, right? Like at the time. But I mean, he's in prison now for 12 years. But yeah, he would like fly to Seattle and, you know, bring them back via his body, right? You know? And
I'm getting what you're putting down.
Yeah, I met all these people and all these things. And then something really bad happened at that house. His daughter had a party there. And I don't know. I think I was working somewhere at the time. And like this kid came there. I don't know if he was 18 or even 17 and like drank some like bong water or something, like meth bong water or something. And this kid died.
Oh my gosh.
And I was at work. And so it was so sad.
Yeah.
And like very shortly after that, like about a week after that.
Did you know him?
I didn't know this kid.
Yeah.
No, I did not. He was one of this guy's daughter's friends. But I do know this was like a normal kid, right? Like, who was just out partying, wrong place, wrong time, one wrong bad decision.
Wow.
It was very sad.
That is super sad.
About a week after that, the DEA capitalized on that and raided the house.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of My Voice. For local services here at my house, please call 373-4357. That's 373-HELP.